just for this stuff that someone I won a competition and they're like, do you want some overlays? I'm like, I make my own. They're like, oh, well, I've paid for it, so by all means have it. And then I ended up with this. I'm like, do me something for a podcast. And she's come back with these scenes and they're cool. They're cool. So, all right, kick it off. Though, welcome guys. Welcome to another episode of Eyes On. Got with me tonight, good friend of mine, Snackx, on the far right. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Snackx.
A bit of a lazy gamer / sysadmin / Linux nerd.
Nice.
Been using computers longer than my memory functions anymore, so there's that.
All right, in the middle we have Nugg from Let's Talk About It, Taco About It, my favorite thing I hear on TikTok. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello. My name is Nugget. I go by Nugg for short, and I love to do cosplays, reviews, game news. Most famously, Let's Talk About It, where I put on my taco suit and talk about all the latest things in gaming.
So good. I love your cosplay.
That's awesome.
Inspires me so much. But we'll ask you about it because you've been getting into VR recently, though.
Mm-hmm.
How are you finding it?
I love PlayStation 2's VR. I'm not sure about anybody else's. So I recently got the PSVR 2, and it was life-changing for me because I've never actually done VR before. So this is my entry point, and I think it's amazing. I'm setting up my studio now because I'm going VR crazy next week.
I mean, I don't know much about streaming VR content, but PlayStation VR content, because it's a little bit, I'm assuming it's going to be way different to what I do. Because I have one of these guys instead. That's a HTC Vive.
Ooh.
Cheap. They're cheap. Nowhere near as impressive as your VR, but there are little programs that you can use on PC VR where I can just add chat to a hand inside. Mm-hmm. So when I turn my hand on a right angle, so technically I have to turn it actually up to my face like this. And when I have my controller like that position, then I can see my chat. Otherwise I can't see it at all. So it's all about putting it on a plane, I guess.
The fact that you can see it is still better than what I have.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm assuming there's some wild workarounds for you.
I'm going to have my chat playing through an AI bot online so that it can come through my headphones. That's the only way I can actually interact. Because
it's a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, when I first unboxed the thing, I couldn't see chat really well. So I was like, well, dang, how can I fix this? So it's been about a month before I could actually get myself where I can go live again and actually have a successful VR stream.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Well, we might touch base on that a little bit later because I think there's some VR stuff in here anyway. But kicking it off with an article from GameSpot, actually, start of the week, the PS5 is rumored to be in the works, and they're targeting for a late release window in 2024, around the May part. There's not too much information on the hardware itself, but what are your thoughts on that? Do you reckon there's some truth to the rumors? Or we're up to that 7-year cycle already. Believe it or not, 7 years? Feels like it's been at least 3 years into the hardware cycle. So what do you guys feel about seeing pro hardware come into the scene already?
Look, the main reason I'm excited about this is because my mate said if a PS5 Pro comes out, he's going to give me his PS5. Look, honestly, I mean, I'm just going to quickly have a look. When did the PS2 Pro and stuff come out after the It's weird that there's an expectation that a Pro unit's going to come out. Sorry, not geeky comment.
I was just gonna say the PS4 to PS5 was about 7 years, I believe.
Yeah, 7. And it was late because we were pretty much expecting new consoles.
And so midway through, they did a PS4 Pro. So people are expecting it 3 to 5 years. They want a Pro.
I think my catch up with this at the moment is the shortage of chips, how we've had over with COVID, and how the release has gone so far for the PS5 and the Xbox. You know, the PlayStation 5 is only just now getting back into the market with stock that people can actually go and pick up a console if they wish.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like availability of PS5s. Look, I'm just going to talk from the start of when 2020, 2021. I mean, like at least in New Zealand while I was living there, it was pretty much impossible to get one unless you bought one secondhand off like Trade Me, which was their eBay equivalent.
Yeah.
Or be on a waiting list on multiple sites and just hope that you got an email saying you could get one. So like I kind of agree there. Maybe that's why they're sort of holding off on the pro hardware as well.
I mean,
because they don't want to commit until they can make enough for a release, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, the other part, I guess, to it, going the pro, will we actually see what the claims were at the start of this console?
Attention, please?
You know what I mean? We had talks about 4K, 120 frames with HDR. And really, what you get is one of those three. You don't get all. You're picking and choosing which parts of that you want. You know, is that something that you think we're going to be able to achieve with the pro model?
Oh, like Nugget said, him getting the PS5 VR, the Pro will probably just make the VR experience better too, right? Like,
well, it did. It did on the original. It did on the original.
My issue with the entire thing is more so what Nova said is that they haven't really had PS5s on shelves long enough, and I touched on this earlier in the week. They haven't had PS5s on shelves long enough for them to say that we need a pro model. 2023 was the first time since launch. I know because I got one at launch. This is the first time we have had PS5s readily available in stores where I can just walk in and just see them there, or just get online and purchase one. So personally, as someone who has followed this whole thing from beginning to end, we don't need pro models because the regular ones are just now available. And then in the pro models are advertising 8K gaming and up to 8K. But my box right here says 8K. So why do I need a pro model to do what was promised to me at the beginning of the life cycle? I'm not sure what we're going to be doing with this pro model. And I also saw in the article there's a detachable disk drive that they're working on.
I've heard that might be for the light as well.
What do we need that for? We have a digital PS5 already. Why do we need
that's what I got beside me.
Yeah, why do you ever just say, hey, I really wish I had a disk drive right now to plug? No. I don't understand. What's pro? I mean, because you remember the PS4 Pro, the biggest thing was 4K gaming.
Yeah.
That was the big sell point.
Sure.
What is the sell point for the PS5 Pro?
Yeah. I
mean, the other downside is it starts fracturing
developers.
What games become like, do I need a PS5 Pro now to play all these games? Because like, do they like, development's rough. Like making some of these big games takes ages, and you don't want to be like targeting multiple different hardwares because like, if you're a console developer, traditionally you're not looking to support multiple hardware things. It's like, no, the benefit of developing on a console is I've got a fixed piece of hardware. Let's make the game run as well as we can on it. And I feel like pro models really fracture that kind of, I don't know. It sort of muddies the water a bit for me.
All right, I'll throw something in there. This occurred to me while thinking about this, about fracturing the models and development and how hard it is. Microsoft is already running into the consistent problem of trying to support Xbox One, S and X. Then you got your Series X and X. If they bring in, a pro model, that'll be their fifth. That'll be a fifth console that they're trying to develop for. Like, that's rough. Like, you're going from an Xbox One to an Xbox Series X Pro or whatever, XY, whatever they're going to call it. That's going to be a massive gap in hardware. Like, it won't be easy.
I'm a little bit biased on the Xbox side because I have a Series S, so I don't. As long as they support that, I'm good. I also, if I'm being honest, as a Series S owner, for me, I tell people all the time, they definitely don't need to get any more hardware at Xbox or at Microsoft. They don't have any. They don't have any Xbox Series X and S only games. Not a single one.
Oh.
They haven't released anything yet. They're still waiting. We're hoping that Starfield is just going to be this big thing. We're hoping that Redfall is going to be this big thing. We're hoping that they're going to have something else that's going to be releasing soon. So I need to see you give me at least one next gen only title on this hardware before we go on to anything. You guys don't need to do anything else until we maximize on what we have here.
I was just trying to think. No, there hasn't been. Not even the Forza was last gen. Every
game that they've dropped has been Game Pass that you can play on all of their platforms. There hasn't been anything next gen.
At least Sony's gone to the, at first they said we'll support it, and after a little bit they looked at reality and went, you know what? It's not going to happen. We're trying to do next gen. It's over. Like, we'll do a couple of games back there if we have to, but really we're focusing on the PS5, and if we can make it work on the PS4, we will. But that's it.
Exactly. And I'm not sure why Microsoft hasn't done that. I guess they're too busy buying up Activision to pay attention to the game.
That's going to swing us into the next one. Okay.
So say that segues us into the next topic pretty well, I think.
Yes. So, I mean, I got two articles on this one. One's coming over from The Gamer. Sony complains to regulators over Starfield and Elder Scrolls Xbox exclusivity. So, basically, this is over in the CMA, UK, where they're still fighting. Sony's digging in its toes, I guess, over in the dirt about how they want. And you think back, and I remember this, back when Microsoft first said they were going, ZeniMax, we're talking about the Bethesda deal here. When they first brought that on, they said, we're not changing anything. All the existing deals will stand. And Starfield was one of them. Starfield was touted on coming onto the PlayStation 5. Same with Elder Scrolls, and they said they weren't going to change it. And lo and behold, it only took a few months after they signed that deal for them to go, yeah, no, it's an exclusive now. They were lucky to get, what was the other one? Deathloop. Like, Sony was lucky that they managed even to get Deathloop, and it ended up being only a timed exclusive. It was meant to be a console exclusive, and ended up only being timed.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, and to bounce on to the second article here that I saw over on GameSpot, the FTC now, they want more information about Microsoft's future deals with ZeniMax exclusivity in its 10-year deals, asking basically like, you know what? Yes, that's true. You guys have said this. Now we actually want to look at this big picture in the future. What is your plan over the next few years? And not just going off what Microsoft said and then letting them change it in a few months' time. Like, I do get, up until recently with this, I understood Sony's push for Call of Duty and why they don't want Microsoft to own, purely for Call of Duty. But thinking back into the deals they've done so far, it's kind of making a little bit more sense to me. I'm going, yeah, okay, I can see why you really want to fight this. Like, what's your opinions on this? We're not going to get an answer on what, the final outcome's going to be for at least another 6 months, I reckon.
I'm actually on Sony's side with this one, if we're being honest, because like you said, if you've already shown your true colors as an Indian giver or someone who's going back on their deals, I don't know what makes you think that Sony's gonna be like, oh yeah, you screwed us over one time, but this time's gonna be different with like the biggest shooter in the world. Go ahead, just we trust you. I'm not sure what they were thinking, and then they went and got this Nintendo deal to kind of try and gang up on Sony, like, hey, Nintendo's all in, so you guys need to hurry up and get all in. So you're just holding up the deal. And I think there's been a lot of misinformation out there on this, on how this whole thing is going, because a lot of people are saying that Sony is holding this up, and Sony just refused to sign the deal. Well, because it's not a good deal. It's not a good.
No, it's
They're
not.
basically saying, hey, we own this thing, but don't worry. If you sign this deal, we'll let you use it sometimes. I'm not signing that deal as a businessman. It's not.
And the wording around the Nintendo deal has been really funny too, because it's going to run as is on hardware. Like how? Like I've got my OLED right here. It can't run Apex. How the hell is it going to run? How's it running Call of Duty? Tell us your magical ways that you're planning to run this as is, the same experience. Like,
I'll do you one even better. What Switch owners asking for COD? Who do you know that plays a Switch avidly? Is like, yeah, you know what? I really want Call of Duty on this thing. They don't want that. That's not even what they want. They don't care.
No, they got Splatoon.
That's a good point.
It's a silly deal. They even started targeting their cloud gaming service. I forget who it was. The guys who do all the cloud services for Nintendo at the moment. They've even got them into the deal, saying, "Hey, you should back us up," and saying that us buying ZeniMax is going to be perfect. It's like, no, this doesn't work.
I think Game Pass is great. I really do. I love what they're doing with the Game Pass, but I feel like in a way it's sort of crippled their creativity, because now it's just a game of Monopoly. Let's just roll the dice and try to land on some other developer that we can just buy up, and you're not giving us anything. You're just buying all these different studios, and then now Sony's doing it, because they're like, well, if you guys are having such success, now we're gonna go buy a bunch of studios too, and we're about to start pushing out our PS Plus. Like, it's ridiculous.
Sony's done it in a different way to Xbox. They're tactical buying. You know what I mean? Like, they brought Bungie, and the main reason they brought Bungie wasn't for Destiny. Like, Microsoft are buying these studios for the titles that they have and what they develop. Sony's not buying these studios for what they have, it's what they can offer. Where Destiny has a great live service. They do live service gaming best out of anyone. And that's something that everyone needs to start looking at. Every online game is looking at live services. Why not buy the studio that does it the best, and then use their knowledge to help build other ones in the future?
Yeah, no, but one thing I've thought about with the two different approaches that like Sony and Microsoft are taking with their sort of Game Pass offerings, I feel like Microsoft, and this sort of ties into what Nugg was saying about there's no next-gen exclusives for Xbox. It feels like they want to be the Netflix of gaming, which is play any of our games on any device that you have, be that you stream it or you run it on lower-end hardware. They just want to make sure that like you're playing their games wherever you can. I mean, don't they have an iOS app for like their Game Pass or game streaming or something?
It runs through the browser or
it's
something.
There you can now play it on like TVs without a console. Is what they're doing. They have like a cloud thing, and then it's also on laptops. And I'm not sure if it's iOS yet, but you can definitely play Game Pass like on just a television without a console, like a smart TV.
I tried it out for a bit.
I mean, that's what I feel like Microsoft's trying to do with all these studio acquisitions is what Netflix tried to do with a whole bunch of production companies, is just buy them up, get them to make content for them that you can only watch on Netflix. And I could guarantee Microsoft wants you to do the same. Sign up for our Game Pass, get these games. They're Microsoft games. But, I mean, they want to be the Netflix of gaming. And I feel like, look, I think Sony is trying to use their Game Pass thing to just get more people on the platform. Like, hey, look at these cool offerings we've got, not like play your game anywhere. Like Sony's I'm going to use a terrible example here, but like Bloodborne has not made it off PS4, and I love Bloodborne, and my constant thing is I'm like, I hope this comes to PC or they do a PS5 upgrade, because like I'd probably buy a PS5 to play Bloodborne, and they just don't. they really stick to their guns and they're like, no, you play it on the platform it's designed for. And even though they've got this Game Pass, it's like if you want a PS5 game, you need a PS5 to play it. Whereas Microsoft's taken the approach of, we've got all these cool Xbox games, but look, you can play them on PC in day one, and it sort of takes away from the console experience, I guess. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass here, but
Yeah, I think Sony does the Game Pass. You know, we've spoken about this for years. I've been saying this to you, Snackx, is how it has to wait a few years to see what Microsoft's Game Pass actually looks like for the future of development. Because Microsoft have never been good at making AAA titles, like big box, you know, sellers like Spider-Man. They don't got anything like Spider-Man, Uncharted series, etc., where they're putting that much money into it. And Sony came out when they did their pass and said, we'll do it, but we're not going to put our AAAs on there because we don't see it as a financial gain to build those titles and get the money that you need to off day one sales. And I don't have a problem with that. Like, if I either got to wait for a AAA title from Sony to come to Game Pass, like, you know, Forbidden West just came to the pass the other day.
yeah, okay.
I don't mind waiting, and if I want to buy it beforehand, I'll buy it beforehand. But I don't. When you add too many games and everyone's got a piece of this pie, there's only so much of that pie you can hand out to the. You know, you're not going to be able to recoup the cost of some of this development.
And I think that there's just so many ways to untie. Because on one hand, I don't want people to think that I'm just crapping on Xbox. I love the Game Pass, and I'm telling you, all of my friends and anyone who knows me, if you don't believe me, you know, check out my content. I vouch for the Game Pass and for the Series S the hardest because it's the most affordable and the best deal.
I almost brought it.
Yeah, it's great for the consumer, for somebody just getting into gaming. You go with that and you're set. But as far as, I think, the hardcore gamers, I would like to think like ourselves, the ones who are really playing all the different consoles, it's now become underwhelming. Like, the gimmick has worn off. I'm like, okay, cool. I've seen all these games. Okay, what are we doing now? What's next? What's the next big thing? The last big thing you gave us was Forza and Halo, which Forza's Forza, you know, it's
and Halo didn't do too well. Like,
and Halo flopped, and so it's like,
Halo flopped big time.
They blamed.
What was the other one? Was it Outriders? That wasn't an exclusive, but that one didn't do well either. I mean, it's just, I can't think of
High on Life
the
came
last
out
exclusive
not so long ago, and you know, High on Life, even though it was
love that. That was brilliant.
It's a good game, but it's dead now. You know,
Hi-Fi Rush did very well.
I that too. Like, but I mean, most of these
I
games
need
that
to play
have been
that.
coming out, they're peaking really quickly at launch, and then they're gone again. It's not like, you know, you could go in and God of War came out before both of these, and I guarantee you God of War is still more popular now than either of those two titles. And I know they're new IP, but it seems to be a very steady trend for Xbox games that like launch and go, oh, Sea of Thieves, yeah, that was a horrible start, but you know, that's a pretty good game actually, Sea of Thieves nowadays.
I think that I really, 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 really want Starfield to be what they're advertising, and I'm super nervous about it because it's been hyped up for I don't know how many years, maybe 2 years now, a little bit over a year. So I'm like, okay, please let this be the one, or Redfall, please let that be the one, because right now I'm just like, where are we going with this thing? What are we? Everything that I'm looking forward to for the most part is some free third-party game like MLB The Show or whatever else is free coming out. Like, oh, it's free, I don't have to pay for it, I'll go ahead and play it. But I don't have that one title where I'm like, you know, I can't play this anywhere else but here.
Yeah, that's, you know. Yeah, no, I mean, even then, I mean, I like, I know you've only recently got into PC gaming. You know,
yes,
you're newer to that. I've been at it for a while. I know Snackx has been at it for a while, and the Game Pass to me really disconnected me needing to own an Xbox console again. Basically, like I use this and this. So I have a brick that looks like something from Nintendo and a PlayStation 5 controller, and that's how I play the Xbox games that suit a controller better on PC. Like, it's I love
I'll be
Game
honest
Pass.
with
I
you.
love Game Pass. Yeah, there you go. Like I love Game Pass. Don't get me wrong, it is great. Yeah, it saved me so much money in the last 2 years, especially now they got the PlayStation Pass. Like I'm just doing those 2 passes. I'm not really buying games anymore. It's brilliant, but you know, I don't see the point of their hardware anymore.
I like their hardware. I'm a plug and play type of guy.
Yeah.
I don't like gaming on my PC. It's not bad. I just it's hard for me to get into the PC gaming, and I'm not sure why. And I'm scared to stream it because my stream gets a little bit choppy whenever I game and stream. So it's like,
We'll fix that
if
up.
I'm,
We will fix that up. We're running pretty much identical hardware.
yeah, that's what's confusing. So we got to figure out what's
We'll
going
talk about
on.
this at some point. We'll fix this
I
up.
was gonna say, give him a hand over. Give him a hand, mate.
I've fixed up multiple people's streams. With
I
hardware
will say
lately.
the last like 3 big games that I can think of all had issues on the PC, which were Hogwarts Legacy had issues on the PC for a while.
Yep.
That was
I
memory
can't
leaks.
confirm.
Yep.
Forspoken had issues on the PC, and there's one more that had issues on the PC when it first dropped. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, I've noticed that PC gaming is great down the road, but I feel like day one gaming, I'm going console all day. Even for Spider-Man, they got that like what, a year and a half, 2 years late.
Oh yeah,
3 years.
Sony's not gonna do. Yeah, no. Like that's why I wanted a PlayStation. Like I needed a PlayStation for those Sony exclusives because I know it's not something that's gonna happen. Like I couldn't wait. Like yeah, I almost spent the raw prices that I saw. I think I walked into a shop and they had like a pawn shop. They had a PlayStation on the shelf in a box. Like this was during the time there was no stock and there was no price tag on it. I saw one on Gumtree
goodness.
for about it was about 300 Australian more, so it was about 1,000 Australian dollars to buy. And I was like, oh, that's a bit more than what the launch is. So it's about 700 US.
Oh, okay.
So it's similar pricing. But I'm like, oh, $1,000. It means I can get one. I don't have to wait. Maybe I'll do it. And then I saw this pawn shop had it. I'm like, well, I don't have to drive 2 hours north to go pick this one up. I'll go in here and I'll go, hey, I'll pick this up for 1,000. I'll give you $1,000. They laughed at $1,000 when I said that. I'm like, I'll give you $1,000. Like, yeah, nah, you're gonna have to go higher than that. You can't get these anywhere. And I'm like, holy, they steamrolled me. Like I even showed him, like, this guy's got it for $1,000, up north. And he goes, well, if you want it, drive up there. Otherwise, offer us a better price than that. I was like, oh, I'm out.
What price did they want? What did they go with?
$1,500 they wanted or something like that. Like,
did you pay it?
No, God, no. I waited until I could get some in stock and I brought it at retail.
Dude, like even Nintendo Switches, like in New Zealand when the lockdowns hit, man, like I saw a Switch go up for sale on Trade Me for 1,000 New Zealand dollars, which I don't know how to convert that into US dollars off the top of my head, but like, and they were selling, like people were buying them because they were like, I can't go out, I can't do anything, like, and opportunistic, yeah. Gaming blew up because of those COVID lockdowns. I reckon, like, it really blew up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, everybody bought everything. People were just like, well, if I can't go out, what's the one thing I can go buy? Just because. I remember 2020 March, we were in the lockdown and I was going to the store to buy supplies, and I just have like this weird thing is whenever I go into a store, I got to check out the gaming section just to see. I never buy anything, but just to go over there and browse.
Yeah.
And somebody's over there like, hey, to hell with it. Let's just buy these Xboxes over here. And I was just like, what? It's like, it's lockdown, man, and we're bored, so we're just gonna buy these 2 Xboxes. And I was like, people are just now buying gaming consoles, and they did. They bought them right then and there, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can imagine this is about to get crazy. And a few months later, every console, every console was sold out within a couple months here in the US. Like every single one, PS4s, PS3s, everything was gone.
That happened here as well. Like everything was just disappearing off the shelves anyway. Even those little, how you get the mini NESs and the mini
Yeah,
NES and
the
SNES,
classics.
the little classics, the
Oh,
micro
yeah, yeah, yeah,
consoles.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed there was not a pawn shop, it's like a little pop-up store in the middle of a mall near us. And he was selling gangbusters, those mini consoles, but not just the actual official ones. He had like knockoff model, like 3D printed of a PS5. It was, and people were buying them. Like they were running just retro games only, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
there was nothing special about it. It was just a printed mini PS5, probably stood about this tall, and it just ran Mario. It just ran ROMs basically, but people were buying them like crazy.
There was some kid who was so disappointed on Christmas.
Yeah. Talking about something that might be going for a few more Christmases though. Nintendo's Doug Bowser says the Switch could have a few more years of life in it. Maybe they this is coming as rumors are swirling about Switch 2. I don't know how many years we've been hearing about the potential Switch 2, but Doug Bowser, he's in charge of Nintendo America, is saying that they've got many years to go. Like that just coincides what we were just saying with Call of Duty. I don't know if Microsoft were hoping that they were going to release new hardware to make their life easier at getting Call of Duty on the Switch, but according to Doug, this might not be the case. Like, what do you guys feel about the Switch's hardware?
I'm sort of in two minds of this, right? Because I've got a Switch and I've played a few games on it. Like the funny thing is, I've got a Switch, but there's a few games I own that I've emulated instead of playing on the Switch because it's like emulators just run better. Like I don't know what else to say there, but I feel like the reason it's lasted this long is because it's more a portable console than it is I'm gonna sit in front of the TV and play Switch console. And so like if you look at the 3DS and the DS and all of their handhelds beforehand, they've lasted for ages and sold insanely well. I mean, like I think the 3DS was the first console that beat the PS2 sales record. So like I can see why Nintendo's kind of pivoted to, all right, well, let's just make portable handheld gaming consoles and we'll just stick with it and see what happens. I think they should refresh the hardware, but at the same time, it seems like stuff still sells really well and some really cool games are coming out for it still. So maybe it's not such a bad idea too. So I'm kind of in two minds about it.
Well, for instance, the Switch has only just got beaten last month by the PS5. 5 years in a row.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It outsold as the number one console in Japan. 5 years, every month, no problems last. Sony just beat it last month. Like, is that to say that they sold too many and maybe they need that refresh? Yeah.
I was gonna say as a Switch owner who put 100 hours into 3 different games, I would say that I don't really think we need another Switch console at this time. I don't know what else they can add. I personally would like for them to kind of maximize on the OLED and the current Switch with better online service. I think that's the only thing that they really need to just tap into a better online system. Like, I'm not sure if you guys have tried it, but Fortnite on the Switch or
I did once.
Any game that okay, so if you just plug in your headset to your Switch and play Fortnite, you can talk to your buddies that are in the game lobby. There's voice chat.
Just natural support,
Right. So if the Switch can take that and maybe do it for all of their other games, I think that would be a better play than trying to get a new Switch right now. But also, I at the end of this month, or maybe I think next month, we get that Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom. So if that isn't running smoothly, okay, maybe it's time to upgrade. But I got to see what that's looking like before I just jump out there and say we need another Switch. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Like you said, they're still selling. The games are still what the community wants. I'm not sure what else we need a new one for.
Well, I mean, I guess have a look at it. Pokemon didn't run too well at launch. That had performance issues and the single-digit frame rates, I guess.
Which one?
Yeah.
the Scarlet and
That was the
Violet.
most recent one, wasn't it?
Yeah, apparently Scarlet and Violet had some frame rate issues.
Uh-oh.
I think part of that is I think that's more Game Freak's inexperience with making 3D games than just like a problem with the Switch. Like,
Probably.
if I could play devil's advocate.
That's probably true. You got to think. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Breath of the Wild ran fine. The original did. They're using the same engine for Breath of the Wild 2. They've had a few more years on the hardware, so I'm sure that'll, if anything, if they could get that, and I love it because I have an NVIDIA Shield for my TV, if they could get that upscaling technology that they have in the Shield, which is the same, pretty much the same chip, we'd be laughing.
Like the thing that like is sort of a bit confusing for me is it wouldn't be hard to refresh the Switch. Like they're on the first gen Tegra. I'm pretty sure the Tegra's up to V3 or V4 now. Like,
True.
But maybe the chip shortage plays into it too, and part of it's like that's still a lot of R&D work. And like I said, like games still sell and like they run pretty well. Like people really like the console. Like any game comes out, people are like, is there going to be a Switch version? And normally there is, and it does really well. So
yeah.
Question: what refresh would you guys want to see? Because I don't feel like they can do anything else with the graphics. I don't need 4K graphics on it on a Switch. So what refresh?
I'm not looking at graphics. I think I would purely just want
frame rate.
I would want a frame rate. That's it. I don't want more graphics. I want probably smoother frame rate on especially when plugged into power. I'm happy when it's handheld. I'm pretty acceptable. But I'd like that chip to clock itself up a bit more and run a bit harder when it's plugged into the dock onto a monitor. Like, and really, it doesn't need more processing power. As I said, like the Tegra chips used in the NVIDIA Shield, and that thing can upscale a 720p or even a 560p, like an old, I'm watching the Golden Girls at the moment on streaming service, and it's upscaling it to 4K. Okay. And I can turn on a little toggle. I showed Snackx this when he came out of my house a while ago with It's Always Sunny, like Always Sunny. I could make that look like it was filmed today with this chip. It can add in the extra detail and make the quality look better. And that's the same chip. It's just it's a part of part of the chip's not there, but it is a Tegra chip that's running it, which is what's also inside the Switch. So if they could just get that upscaling AI technology that Shield has, I think that would give you the frame rates and everything else. It would complete it.
Okay. So yeah, maybe that'll be. Does your OLED perform better than
a little bit
like my original?
Yeah, a little bit. Not
like
much. That's not over the top. It's a little bit smoother, but they also made the screen bigger, so it didn't really help with that. They made the screen, and that's why I grabbed it, because I was thinking it was going to run a little bit smoother. But I mean, like you said, we're not buying Switches for graphical power. We're buying it for the games that Nintendo make.
Right.
Yeah. They're the polar opposite of Microsoft and Xbox. They know how to make a game,
and it's interesting because they're the polar opposite, yet they sell the best. They don't focus on graphics, but they sell better than the graphical power consoles every year.
Yeah, it's unreal. I don't know. I don't know what to say about them with that one. It's just surprise.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about art direction being better. Like if you're just aiming for realism, the problem is after a certain point in time, people go back to play your game, and because you are targeting the best realism that the hardware could deliver at the time, hardware keeps improving, and so realism keeps improving. Whereas like if you pick an art style, it's very easy to go back and play it again. Like I like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I was
about to say Wind Waker. That thing
like
still looks
that's
amazing.
Timeless. You could release that right now on a current gen console, and people will be like, "This looks awesome." Like I feel like if you capture a good art style, that lasts a lot longer than just aiming for. All right, I've got every single bell and whistle that we can do graphics programming wise for this current title.
I agree. I think.
Keep going, Nugg.
I was gonna say I think the most recent art style that I loved and everyone else seemed to love was that Hi-Fi Rush. I think that art style is extremely timeless, and I think that
Cell
game
shaded. It's
I
always
think it'll
cell
be
shaded.
considered.
I was gonna say it's like
I was going to say Jet Set Radio Future.
yeah, oh
That
dude,
game,
yeah, that's
yeah.
that game is
another.
old, but I guarantee you that would look amazing at 1080p,
Well,
just
dude,
full HD.
it's on PC, man. It looks awesome. It's
I
so
think I
good.
own it.
Like it just works so well.
I know someone put it up on Twitch the other month, and I completely forgot about it. But they said, I want to meet someone that's beat Jet Set Radio Future. I'm like, I have. And I'm like, hold on,
Yeah,
I
I've
own it.
multiple
I'm pretty
times.
confident I need to stream this thing now and show people that it can be finished.
I have fond memories of playing that on my actual Dreamcast before the GD-ROM died.
All right. Well, this one's a pretty short one, but it's I guess got to do with colossal failures. This is from Kotaku. Star Citizen had a week to forget. And we were talking a little bit about this leading up. I don't know.
Beforehand.
Yeah, beforehand. So they released their big alpha 3.18. This has been an update that they have been talking about for a very long time. And it was meant to change the game, change the gameplay, add so much to it. So a lot of people were excited, I guess, leading up to it. And basically the service crashed. Everything went to crap. The game was pretty much unplayable for the whole week off launch. Like, it's something I guess any developer does not want to see when you've been toting about this massive update for so long and been in private betas and, you know, shadow playing off the side. Like, I feel sorry for him. You don't? I got into it last year. I went down the path hard into space sims last year for some random reason. I was playing PlayStation VR. The PlayStation 4 VR was originally, and I played No Man's Sky in VR. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I played it on PC VR, and it's a little bit nicer. I'm like, this is really cool. It'd be really cool if I could hold a fly. You know, I want to fly some spaceships. I don't want to just walk up to my ship and hop, like, look at it and get in. I want to actually open the door and walk in. So then, next thing you know, I'm at the shops buying a flight stick. I'm buying one ship, my starter pack in Star Citizen. Within 3 months' time, I've upgraded 4 times to like a bigger ship because I'm like, this ship's not big enough. I need a bigger ship. Like, they got me there for a while. I guess. Like,
they certainly did.
I am the epitome of what that game was targeting. Suckers like me.
I didn't follow this game as closely, but from what I've read, I think that it's maybe not their fault. Maybe this isn't the best example, but I feel like the quality of games that are coming out now have just suffered from this endless, we'll just update it once it's out mentality. I really hate this era of gaming of things getting updated post release. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
I'm not saying that this is what happened with Star Citizen.
No, this is exactly what happened with Star Citizen.
Yeah, even No Man's Sky that got updated a year after it was finally like really good.
Yeah,
I don't know why but every game or all these studios are coming out with these different games, and it's like, well, we're gonna release it and then we'll fix it on the way, or we'll add a patch, or I see now it's really popular. 1 year later, okay, come back to this game. It's really good now. Cyberpunk is good a year and a half later.
That's
Destiny
true.
2 has tons of content and all these DLCs years down the road. It's like, bro, why can't we get it right when it releases?
Why can't we do it on release? Yeah.
It's frustrating, man.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I only wanted to touch on that one briefly because I just thought I heard so much about this update. It was coming out, and it was just, you know, for any developer, it would suck to warm, you know, great white hype as it will. You're building up to suspense to this big update, and then it's nothing but problems. Like, I know a stressful job on the best of days, how horrible it could be. I could just imagine everyone inside that studio and how overworked they would have been the last 7 days trying to dig their way out of this mess, I guess.
It's you know, like, because we're talking about Star Citizen, I quickly just jumped into my email. I found my initial pledge. 19th of November 2012, 20 USD. Still waiting for a game. Still waiting.
That's crazy.
So
Like they said Squadron 42 was going to be like 5 years, I think. So like 2017, which is like meant to be the single player campaign. I don't think they've even started it.
that's the one where
like-
they've got all the big actors for it too. They've paid some
Yeah, I think-
ridiculous money for actors.
Well, I think Mark Hamill and like all the people from Wing, I think they got as many people as they could from Wing Commander who were in those games back in to do voice acting for it. And I think it's all done.
Yeah, all their
'Cause I
stuff's
remember
done.
Mark Hamill tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
all
little while ago
their
now?
stuff's done. All their stuff's done.
That is
So,
crazy.
Yeah,
it's just
11 years.
like,
it's
okay.
it's kind of nuts. Like, I think it's this whole live service game mentality. Like, look, on one camp, like I really enjoyed playing Path of Exile for the 5 years that I played it. And you know, I ended up working there for 3.5 years.
Yep.
And like, there's it's kind of cool working on a live service game because it's like for Path of Exile GGG, it was every 3 months they would do like what they called an expansion or content update. And like, it's kind of crazy to see what you can actually develop and create in that time frame. But you know, it's such a short period of time. Like, some of those releases were actually down to the wire, and some of the launch days just went. Look, nothing went terribly wrong, but like some launch days were worse. Like, some were definitely worse than others, and some were a lot smoother than others. So
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I feel like Star Citizen, they're in this weird point. I think people are at this like,
We
I
want
just
it.
want the game to be done, and
Yeah.
and you look at the product that's available now, and you like, they're nowhere near what they're saying it's going to be.
No.
So
No,
I can
that's
see
it.
the frustration that people have, right? Like, so when
Yeah.
something like this happens, they can't understand because they're like, it's been in development so long. Why is this happening still?
Yeah. That's fair. Now moving along, just a quick one about, we were talking about Game Passes and stuff. PS Plus March's update. It's big.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
They're adding for you know, I would say it's probably one of the most exciting months they've had in a while. I mean, last month we got Horizon Forbidden West added
that's a lot
to
of
the collect.
games.
That's, you know, looking at, and there's some big ones: Ghostwire, Uncharted, Street Fighter 5. I believe I saw somewhere in here Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I've been wanting to buy that game. I saw that it was coming. I'm like, well, I'm not buying it now. I can't wait to play it.
If you haven't played Final Fantasy Type 0,
I do.
like, if you're an FF fan, recommend. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's it. That's an exciting list. Like,
Can I tell you guys what I'm excited about?
Which one?
It's gonna be surprising. I'm gonna actually do a video on this one. Chia. It's an upcoming exclusive. It's a really cute game.
yes,
It's like the second one on the list.
Yeah.
They did a PlayStation Direct. I watched the PlayStation Direct and I saw it and I was like, yo, I cannot wait for this game. And it comes out day one on the PS Plus service. So it's a little different. It's like a little cutesy
it's
little
an
game.
island. It's an island, a little game.
Yeah.
It's
It looks really good.
What do I
Brand new.
remember? Inspired from an island near where I've been. New Caledonia.
Wait, it's a real island?
New Caledonia is a real island. Yeah. So it's inspired off a real. It's inspired.
Oh, it's inspired off of that. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was taking
Yeah,
place
it's
there.
inspired off that. I remember I got to that island. I was so excited because they speak. It's like, it's a weird island that was like half British, half French, part American. Like, all these people kind of like own part of the island for a bit there.
Okay.
It's now its own thing, but like, because they spoke French and they had a McDonald's, it was like the only McDonald's in the Pacific that you could go to. And I was there. I'm like, I'm going to McDonald's because I need to know if it was like a Royale with cheese. Like, I was finally going to answer my Pulp Fiction fantasies by going to a French McDonald's. I don't remember. I was drunk though, so I can't actually even give you the answer.
I've been there. I've been to one, brother. I've been to a French McDonald's. Yeah.
Good. But no, it's just exciting news for, I guess, PlayStation users and the Pass service. Like, just I haven't brought a game for my PlayStation 5 since I've owned it. I've just been playing the Game Pass.
That's an impressive list of games. Like like the Uncharted collection. Like, that's awesome. Those Uncharted games are so much fun.
I agree.
There's many hours there in that list. Switching over to another article though about Game Pass and this is from Game Informer. There are no plans for Diablo 4 on Game Pass. I don't know if this is wishful thinking.
Hold on, what do you mean?
So this is from over in Game Informer. Diablo 4. So
no plan?
Yeah, no plans.
Can't be right.
Is how Rod Ferguson from Blizzard is talking. He doesn't.
What? Oh wow!
Well, this is part of this sort of ties into the Blizzard Activision deal, right? Because people are sort of assuming that it's going to hit there because Microsoft's currently buying Activision, but this is saying no plans to do it.
Yeah. So people have been speculating that the game might come to the Game Pass because of once that are close to teaming up. But as Ferguson has come out saying, it's awesome and exciting around the beta and our Wolfpack puppy. We've been getting some questions about D4 on Game Pass, and I'll let you know we have no plans for that. See you in the Sanctuary during the beta. Like, that was short and sweet. Covered straight from Blizzard. Like, they might lose that.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know how much pull Microsoft's going to have once they own it, or I'm pretty sure the idea was similar to the last one, where the studio still runs itself. It's just Microsoft owns it.
Okay. Blame Sony, I guess.
I think
that's the easy thing to do, right?
Yeah. Well, they didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, what do you got to say? But I mean, I kind of expected it to come on Game Pass. I was very, at the same time, I don't know why. I just assumed that every studio that Microsoft buys is just they're going to get their games and just chuck it all up on Game Pass. End of story. I mean,
I think I missed this conversation last week. I think it was on your list for last week, but they were talking about how that they said that they were losing money on Game Pass. Did you talk about that last week?
No, I didn't talk about it, but I know that's what I've been thinking for a while.
Yeah, I did read that article. Microsoft losing money on Game Pass. Yeah,
it's inevitable because why would anybody buy any of your games that you're putting out if all of them are coming to Game Pass day one? You're going to lose so much money, and I think what they're trying to do is, like you said, they're trying to become the Netflix of gaming. But of course, once you get everybody hooked into the subscription, then you just jump up the price. And I think that's their end game. But I'm not sure if it's gonna work.
No, I mean, it could work. It could backfire like Netflix. It backfired for Netflix. They thought that was the case. Then now we've got 20 different subscription models that we're all paying $5 a month to see different shows on different things. Like, it was simple to begin with, and now everyone's gone down that pie. Like, Nintendo do their trimmed down version of just the classics, and I mean, I like that, but still.
I mean, PC gaming, you've got Steam, you've got Epic, you got the Microsoft Store. Like, there's so many options on PC gaming. Like,
I found one for VR on PC gaming.
Oh wow!
There's an actual Game Pass. It's called Viveport.
Nice.
It's called Viveport. It's $10 a month. And it works for all the VR consoles on PC, and it's not just Vives. They support everyone. But yeah, they just put their own. It's not all the titles, but they had some really good titles in there. Like, there was 2 titles that I actually recently brought, and then I found it. I'm like, oh, I could have got my like, I didn't have to spend all that money on buying them. I could have just got them for here. So yeah, I think more and more of these passes, Ubisoft do their own already.
Yeah,
You
it's
play?
coming, man.
EA
It's
have their
coming.
own. EA has their own.
It's coming, dude. I'm telling you, it's gonna start off like, just Game Pass and PS Plus, and we have a couple others in Ubisoft and EA Play, but we're gonna see more. We might see Epic decide to do their own.
Oh, no doubt.
We might just see. I just think that once you open up this rabbit hole and Game Pass had all of the success, I don't know what happens in the future. And I think that's why they're really pushing to buy all these studios. And I'm one of those people who believes that the console war, like the competitiveness, makes gaming good. Like I don't want to have God of War on both Xbox and PlayStation. I want to have one great game here, and then I want you to have a rebuttal great game, and I want you guys to go at it, so that way we can keep it fresh. Because if everything starts to mesh together with these subscription services, it's going to be bland because there's no competition. It's like sports games. It's like FIFA. There's no other competition out there, so you can just put out whatever crap you want, and I have to buy it. I don't want that.
Well, yeah, FIFA. I mean, FIFA's. We'll see what next year's FIFA looks like. I guess we got one more year
Like
of.
this year's?
We got one more year of
This
EA.
year.
Yeah, this is it. Last year.
This was it. This is
Oh,
it.
this is it. That was
the last
it.
one.
Yeah, that was it.
I
Yeah,
thought
that's
this
it.
was the last one. Yeah.
This is the last one. So I think this will be a great year for soccer next year, or football. It'll be a great year.
No, we call it soccer. We call it soccer.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I guess it worked for basketball.
We complain about that game a lot.
Oh, no, we do. But
competition is always better, and I think that is the key for why Sony puts out such great products and Microsoft does great deals, because you have to keep competing. Once that competition is gone, the product will suffer every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, bring back the original console wars. This is going to be a bit of an old man get off my lawn thing, but man, I remember when you had like the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox, like all like, and like you got such different experiences on each of the consoles. I mean, like there was a few games that sort of were on each of the different consoles, but then you had some of those exclusives, man. Like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, man, on PS2. Like you just couldn't play that on anything else. Like they were just great experiences for that console. It's like if you wanted to play that, you need a PS2. Like it's such a it really drives innovation, like you're saying, and competition. Like I fully agree, man.
I'll take it. I'll take it further back actually, because I can really remember a commercial from TV as a child growing up. Actually, it was for the NES. It was at the launch of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. When that movie came out, and the NES games, because Nintendo were the only ones that had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, their TV ad, I remember showing off the game and all the cool action you could do, and it just ended with the only turtles you can get for Sega are these guys, and just had some turtles crawling over a Master System. Like that was it. Like I want that console war back where they just went out in the ads and just distinctively said how crap that competition was. Like that was good. I miss those days. Miss commercials like that too. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore anyway.
I don't. Only time I see commercials is before it's before YouTube video.
I've been watching free TV lately. For some reason, I don't know why. Bringing up this other one. I was going to talk about average this, but he didn't end up coming tonight. Assassin's Creed Red is a new title coming out. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed title for quite some time. I dropped off. But
yeah,
we're going to Japan. We're set in Japan. And we're going 2 different protagonists this time. So we're going a shinobi and a samurai. Two different characters. Like I think this is interesting for them to give us 2 perspectives in one game, I guess. Have either of you played one?
I'm excited. Well, let me back up. I played every Assassin's Creed up until I forgot what it was called. Maybe Syndicate or maybe the
That was
one
Black Flag. Mine was the pirate one.
Same
that
here,
was
Nova.
that's my favorite of all time. That one,
Yeah,
that's the
I
best
love
one.
that game.
So right around that time when they started to just start dropping them every year is where I fell off because I got really burnt out.
Then they went
And then I
open
came
world
back.
RPG.
Then they went open world RPG, and I came back and I tried a couple of those, but Odyssey bored me, and Valhalla also bored me. So I'm glad that they're taking some time to step away and go back to they set their roots of just being an assassin game, that they're leaving the open world behind. So I'm excited to see what this looks like. I'm also interested because I remember back in the day we were asking for a Japanese version for
Ages.
forever. We were asking for it, and then Ghost of Tsushima drops, and then people forgot about Assassin's Creed, and now that Ghost of Tsushima has dropped, they released this Assassin's Creed Red, and I remember all throughout the comments, they waited too late. Ghost of Tsushima did it better. So I'm curious to see how this game will be received because everyone has such a high expectation because of Ghost of Tsushima, and that's like kind of what we think is like the best Japanese.
I only played that
Assassin
game. I only
there.
played Ghosts. Oh, that was one of my offline stream games. I only finished that probably 3 months ago, and I loved it. That was one of the games that I actually went through, and I'm like, I need to explore every inch of this map. What's that icon? What's there? Can I take on more fights? Like, I wanted to do everything in that game. But I wasn't thinking of Assassin's Creed with that game. I was thinking of an older title, Tenchu. I want Tenchu. Oh, Tenchu is the original. This is before Assassin's Creed. There, you were two different ninjas, and it was like assassinating. It was very old, but you were ninjas. You would break in, climb houses. Like, it was cool. It was
Another fantastic PS2 game there, Josh.
yeah.
PS2, man, they had a lot of great games. It was just a golden age for creativity.
It was. They just, I don't know. I guess
Original Tenchu was PlayStation, right? Not even 2. Like
PlayStation.
That was PS1, I think.
Original PlayStation. Yeah. So, I mean, I played up to the 4th one, I think. Played them for quite a while. Speaking of, I guess, original games, Shroud and Sacriel are teaming up together with Splash Damage to make an open world survival game.
Yeah, I watched that YouTube yesterday when they dropped that. Was it yesterday or the day before? I remember watching that.
So they're talking about another, I guess, targeting the Dr. Disrespect game.
I was going to say, are they trying to compete with that?
Yeah, I believe that the path is to go down Escape from Tarkov, like Dr. Disrespect and DMZ, and really go hard into a tactical realism shooter. I guess.
Is this the future of gaming? Is it now just become a big streamer and put out your own game? Is that what we're going to see in the next 10 years, you think? Is this a trend?
Well,
That's the
PewDiePie
new
did
strategy,
mobile
I
games. PewDiePie made a lot of mobile games, actually. But, I mean...
Really?
Yeah, okay. He's done like 3 or 4 mobile games. But, I guess... I don't know. I think especially with someone like Shroud, and I mean, Dr. Disrespect would be similar, but these two together, I have a feeling... it will be a little bit of having those two on the team will focus it towards content creators, making a game that's actually going to be enjoyable to stream. Like Escape from Tarkov is, a great game, but it is a hard game to stream well because it is
takes so much of your PC, doesn't it?
No, yes and no, a little bit of that, but it's more like I find it, and I like playing it, and I still do. I could be in combat. I'm doing something. I'm tracking because it's very focused on the ears, and listening and awareness. Next thing you know, I've got a raid happening. My scenes are going off. I've got music going. Lights are flashing in my face. I can't hear what my enemy's doing or anything. Like, I'm just confused. You know, I'm either too focused on the game or too focused on chat. Like, you can't do both in that game, I guess. Not easily anyway. And even the big streamers that do, you know, your Pastilli or the Landmark, for example, they're two of the biggest content creators in Escape from Tarkov. They're not heavily focused on chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say for what you just described is kind of why I don't really play FPS games. Not that much. One, I get kind of bored with them.
Yeah.
But two, the way that I run a stream, I'm really chat based, so I don't necessarily want to be locked in to a fight and then someone comes in and I miss a message. I feel really, really bad about that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how this is going to work, but also what Kane Gaming, did I say that right? Canera?
Yeah.
Said I feel the pros have no taste for gameplay. And I kind of have to agree with that because the pros, they're so good. They're not looking at their chats. They're just playing the damn game. And then after they get killed, they'll read the most recent message and then they'll just keep going back to playing the game. So I'm curious to see what happens.
I mean, I guess Splash Damage, they brought us Quake Enemy Territory. That was a good online game for back in the day.
Fun.
That was a fun game. But they also brought us Brink. That was the other one. That was an interesting game. Brink was an interesting game, but it didn't last too long. You know what I mean? It was like
we played that a bit, didn't we, Nova? Like
a little
we played
bit.
that a fair bit, I think. Yeah,
a little bit, but it just didn't.
It didn't click.
It didn't click. I think it was ahead of its time because it had movement. Like it had movement similar to what you get in Apex, but it was too early before Titanfall and the rest of it. No one was ready for parkour action, basically.
Well, I think the main thing I remember was I felt like the gunplay in that game was not great from memory. I remember like the movement feeling good, but all the guns kind of felt, I don't know.
Yeah, it felt half baked. I guess the idea
not finished.
Yeah. Which is a perfect segue into this next one about AI. So GPT-4, because I love it, which GPT are you using, created a playable version of Pong in under 60 seconds. So this is an article I read up on IGN. What do we think about AI? Like AI is being used more in development for a bit of everything, but for it to create a game from scratch, I guess it is an existing game. It knows what it is. I mean, with Pong, I'd like to know more of it, but I'm assuming it went back through and just probably would have pulled a lot of code that it could find in its database. It wouldn't have written something from scratch.
Yeah. It's already being used as kind of a coding co-pilot, I think they call it. Because Microsoft's got access to all the code on GitHub now because they own it. So I would not be surprised if they have fed all of that into OpenAI. Like into ChatGPT and stuff.
iRobot. Well, I'm interested to see what type of games we're going to get with AI helping. Like this is our future, I guess. Is more and more open AI in all of our jobs. Like, I don't know. Do you see this is going to push us further in game development faster? I guess. Like, are we going to see new levels in gaming than we probably would have without it?
I think. Go ahead.
No, you go. No, you go first, mate. I'll go after you.
I was just gonna say I think it might be just a phase. I don't know if AI is truly sustainable, and I think that sometimes people kind of hype it up to be a little bit more than what it is. I've used I
get tongue-tied on it.
I've used it, and sometimes you can tell that an AI wrote this, or like if I'm using it to try to type something, I have to still go back and read over it. So I don't think we'll be losing jobs or having them just go out there and do their own thing just yet. I think that there's a massive push for AI right now, and people really want it to be a little bit better than what it is, but it's not quite, I think, at that point of taking over. I think if somebody was to use an AI for code, they would almost guarantee to have to rewrite like every other line of that code. There's no way that you can. It's just not sustainable from what I've seen. It's not that good yet. It's cool, but it's not nearly good enough to do your work for you just yet. From what I've seen, just with ChatGPT.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean,
As,
what I was gonna say is, I think like anything new, everyone wants it to be something. You know, they have a want of what they want it to be, but what it actually is different. I just look at it as it's just going to be another tool in a game develop. It's going to be a tool in a lot of different professions toolbox. I won't limit it to gaming and programming. I think there'll be a lot of uses for it in a lot of different jobs, but I feel like it's going to be just a catch-all automation tool, stuff that you normally wouldn't try and automate by hand yourself. You'd be like, hey, AI, how would you automate this task? And it gets you 80% of the way. You take that, whatever it gives you, and you work with it, or you go, no, this isn't going to work at all, and you move on. But who knows?
Perfect.
It's still early days. But yeah, with its current capability now, I totally agree. I feel like people overstate what it can actually do. It's super impressive, but at the same time, there's definitely limitations, and you can definitely tell that an AI has generated it most of the time.
Oh yeah. Even I just do it for like sometimes like a YouTube description. I'll just say, description about this is what I want and you read through it. There's some sentences that don't quite make sense. It's repeating itself. I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't nearly the just plug and play. You just do whatever. You have to check over this thing. This is a tool. This is not a
a little bit skew off here. I actually used as much AI as I could to make a video for YouTube.
Okay.
I'm actually redoing it because NVIDIA decided to add its stupid AI eye tracking thing to make you looking at the camera the whole time. So I want to add this into the mix, but I got chat to write me a script. It was a 3-minute script or something, speaking script it was. All what I did was clicked record on Stream Elements. I just did record on that and just recorded myself reading the script. Then that full video with my stuff ups, I grabbed and dropped into, I forget what it's called, but it's an online editor, and it's an AI online editor. So then the AI then edited my video, took out all the gaps and all the stuff ups, like it flagged any stuff ups that I wasn't sure, and I just went, oh yeah, no, don't want that. It even added effects like zooming in, like the whole punch zoom on when.
What video is this?
I'll send it to you. I didn't publish it. I haven't published it. Like I want to refilm it with the NVIDIA eye tracking because my eyes were off a little bit while I was reading the script. But like, it was a cool little test, like just a little self test to see how much I could do without actually, like, this was all up 3 minutes of my time for me to actually edit a 3-minute video. Like, I didn't even have to think about it. I just typed into GPT and said, hey, write me a script for this so I can read it to the camera, and then upload it to a website, and then it gave me my finished result. I was like, yes, this is great.
What was the website that you uploaded it to again?
I can't remember. I'm going to have to find it.
My goodness. I wanted to see how good it was, the finished product. That might save me
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. I do have it. Actually, yeah, no, I'll send it.
That's a fun test.
I think it's on YouTube.
It is good to push limits with these things, I think, just to see, like, what's the breaking point of the tool, right? Like, you get a new tool and you're like, what's the thing that's really going to, like, I'm going to use this in probably not the intended way here. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no, it was purely like let me see what this thing can do. Will it do what I want it to do, basically, without anyone actually, how much.
I feel like
it was weird.
As long as these things stay tools, I'm okay. I don't want it to, once it starts getting and we start trying to make it, actually be human clones. That's where we get messed up at trying to get it to do actual jobs. But if they're just fun little tools, I'm okay with it.
I'll have to find it. I don't know what I did with it, but it was definitely it was different. Like I guess it was not something, it didn't feel organic, I guess. There was a lot that was missing, but it was still pretty cool what you could pull off with AI, like where we currently are with AI and content creation, I guess, how much I could get away with. So I'm going to skip the Starfield. Oh, no, actually, I do mind this one, just because I find it hilarious. Starfield's getting restricted rating in Australia because we have crazy.
That's interesting.
We have crazy laws when it comes to our ratings here.
Let's not forget that Fallout 3 got changed because of Australia, because it had drug using animations, and they just removed it from all the different versions just to get it over the line here.
So it's getting a complete adult rating, similar to something of over 18 years, like Grand Theft Auto, for example, Hotline Miami, for interactive drug use. So apparently one of the parts of Starfield is you will be injecting, I guess, is probably what's going to be it. It's very in the impact level. They're saying because Starfield's world is over 100 systems and over 1,000 planets, they're saying there's probably lots of different drugs that you'll be testing out on your body. Basically, it's drug testing. I find that interesting because I think our system's very different here to what it is in America, and I couldn't find out what it is. But like, it's weird. We have a lot milder system when it comes to swear words. Australia is completely relaxed when it comes to language and what you can and cannot say on TV and movies and the rest of it compared to the rest of the world. But little things like a video game, we crack down on ridiculously hard. Like I don't think it's going to hurt it. I mean,
well, remember Hotline Miami 2? The developers were like, it's too hard to get our game classified in your country. If you live in Australia, just pirate our game.
Yes, they can't sell it.
They sent out a tweet. So you still can't buy Hotline Miami 2 in Australia. Like you just can't.
Yeah,
it was refused classification, so it can't be sold on Steam. It can't. Oh, you could use a VPN and buy it, right? But the developers just were like, yeah, just pirate our game. Like your country's real weird. And we had an R18 rating already, and they wouldn't classify it under that.
No.
And like the R18 rating's still relatively new, right? Like what Mortal Kombat was it 10 is when it first got. I can't remember what the first game was for R18 here in this country.
Yeah.
It took ages to come out. Like for the longest time, the highest a game could be rated here was M15 plus, like mature audiences 15 and over. If it was like an R-rated game, like GTA, it just. I mean, what South Park Stick of Truth? Didn't they add that they replaced a cutscene or something with like the koala image?
Yes.
For the Australian version or something.
Yes.
There's some weird stuff game companies have to do.
For GTA, do they just change the game for you guys?
No, GTA was fine. San Andreas was San Andreas. It was actually.
I thought GTA 3 they removed the ability to pick up hookers and stuff. I thought.
Yeah, that's when it started, but the one that really flagged it was hot coffee. It was the unofficial name for a mini game inside San Andreas.
Where that was the sex game.
Yes, that was what actually set it off. I do remember, like, it was hard at the time. It wasn't hard. I was over 18 at the time, and I mean, I had no problems getting the original GTA 3, but I do remember around San Andreas or even Vice City, it may have been going into a GameSpot, or EB Games as we call it here, and a little kid walking in with a pile of games trying to trade them in so he could get store credit. And the guy's like, dude, you can't do it. You have to be over 18 to to sell. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so go get your mum. Anyway, what game did you want? And this 10-year-old kid just looks at him with this pile of PlayStation 2 games and goes, I was hoping to get GTA. Like,
Dude, what good times, man. GTA is it's funny. No matter where you're at, kids want GTA. No matter what country you're in.
Yeah, Fallout. Yeah, Fallout.
Show.
I'm just bringing up a list of games that was once banned. Left 4 Dead 2 was banned in Australia for realistic, unrelented violence. It's random games that they pick random games. Disco Elysium was
that's right.
Was banned. Aliens vs Predator, because I think it was Aliens vs Predator. Which one? The relaunch. No, the relaunch. Yeah. Okay. So that was banned because of violence. You could rip off people's heads, etc. Fear 2, We Happy Few. They randomly pick games, and then at other times, Soldier of Fortune was allowed in Australia, and you could shoot people's legs off in that game.
You could shoot every limb off in Soldier of Fortune too.
Exactly. So, ratings, I don't get them. I don't get why.
It's been so haphazard.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of like it just turned into a bit of a meme inside of our country. It's just like what's going to get refused or not. Some games they would get released, and you're like, how did that get through? And then some random game would turn up and they're like, nope, it's banned. You're not allowed to buy it.
Yeah. Banned. Exactly.
It's just been hit and miss.
Yeah. So the last one I want to talk about tonight, though, just bring back to Twitch, because I thought it's not entirely game news, but I mean, it does change a lot of things moving forward. Twitch's CEO, this is coming from Polygon, Twitch's CEO is stepping down to spend time with his family. So this is Emmett Shear. He announced last week that he's going to be stepping down from his role. He was one of the originals that helped launch Twitch over 16 years ago. So it does feel like it is part of it is a child to him. He's watched it grow over these years. But he's stepping aside even after the buyout. He's been there and helped push Twitch in the direction that it's going. Is this a good thing? Are we looking at possibly great changes for Twitch moving forward with potentially someone who's been, as they said, disconnected from the community for quite a while, like not knowing what the platform needs?
I'm not gonna say it's a good or bad thing, because I don't know. I think that I think that a lot of people complain about Twitch, but it's kind of wrongfully so. This might be like a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I think that a lot of the complaints about Twitch are discoverability and money, the splits. I don't think that changing who's CEO will help either one of those things. Discoverability, as I've seen so far, just from my perspective, discoverability can only be so good when something's oversaturated. That goes from any platform, and that's why you see a lot of people saying that Kick has better discoverability. Well, it's just less people over there, so it's easier when it's not super saturated. And then the payouts, you had to keep the lights on in the place. I mean, I don't know if a new CEO is going to have drastic changes with any of those things, but what do you guys think?
That's Snackx. You got something to say about it?
Yeah, so like Nugg said, I don't know enough about like the higher workings of Twitch to know if this is a good or a bad thing. But like, sometimes change is good. Like, sometimes CEOs get replaced because like they don't fully understand their customer base anymore because they've been there too long. Like maybe their customers have changed and they haven't, and so sometimes it is good. They could replace him with someone worse. Who knows? I mean, that's happened before. Like other companies, like, yep, it's the right time for me to leave. The replacement comes in and the company does worse. So it's a bit of crystal ball navel gazing there. But But yeah, like this guy, like you said, he's been there since it was Justin TV, right? Before
Yes,
like
so
it was
he's
even
one of
called
the
Twitch.
he is one of the it was Emmett, Justin Kahn was Justin TV.
It was only a handful of them.
Yes, yeah. So he was one of the originals. I see it as a good thing. Like with the changes at the moment and the platform, you got kicking off, and I know, like Nugg said, there's people saying that discoverability is great over there, but so far it only seems to be the discoverability is great for the people that like to play one of 5 games. Basically, yeah, you know, you're an Apex player, you're a Call of Duty player, or a Fortnite player. That's basically, you know, a good place for you to step aside. Like, if you're not playing them, you know, bring up the slot machines, and then you might have a better chance of being discovered. I mean,
that was a really good point Nugg made about saturation. Like, it's people say that YouTube's is better, but is it? Like,
no, it's not.
My YouTube feed is always a mishmash, and like sometimes I'll catch someone new and be like, "Oh, that was a good suggestion," but like I don't feel like the discoverability is any better or any worse than Twitch. Twitch, like, I mean, Twitch has probably got more people trying to stream on it all the time, but you mean that YouTube, you've got heaps of people trying to make videos too. Like, there's a lot of content, man. There's so much.
It's thank you. There's a lot of content, and so that's why I'm just curious as to what do we want Twitch to do. I know that you guys both said that maybe he doesn't understand the player base, but what does the player base want other than better discoverability and a better pay split? And it's like, how can they do that? How will they do that? I don't know what we're expecting. I'm not sure what the solution is. That's a better word. What the solution is for this, because it's really difficult to fix something where there are millions upon millions of active users daily and say, oh, well, I'm upset that I'm not getting what I deserve.
Yeah. And like running something like Twitch would be expensive, like wildly expensive. Like, that's a lot.
Service.
Like, you think of like rebroadcasting stuff, like that's a lot of bandwidth, and like bandwidth is still cheap, but like when you're serving it to millions of people 24 hours a day, it adds up. Like the running costs of Twitch and YouTube as well for storage and bandwidth. Like, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that, like, you know, I mean,
the average person would understand that, though.
Correct. Like,
overheads.
They do understand that things cost a lot of money to run, but like, I've got a little bit of an insight. Like, I've never worked at these companies, but like, you know, I'm more of a sysadmin backend sort of engineer, and like, these are the things I've had to deal with in previous jobs, and like, it's difficult, it's expensive. Like, it's expensive to have people to make sure that the services, like, they probably have some, like, the service needs to be up and running 99.999 recurring % of the time, and that costs a lot of money because you need people who are there.
You've got
24
backups
hours
on that
a day.
Yeah.
You've got agreements in place.
I mean, the moment Twitch goes down for 5 minutes, Twitter is flooded, everything's flooded. What's wrong with Twitch? I hate the platform. This is the worst thing ever. I'm like, you're up 24/7. And like you said, with the bandwidth, right now we are on different sides of the world. We're on the eastern half of the world and the western half of the world, and we're communicating and streaming to no cost of our own on this platform to whoever wants to come and watch it. Like, we're not paying anything to do this. We don't have to pay them to put our content out there. They're doing it for free. So it's like, I'm not sure what the new CEO change. Maybe he has something up his sleeve that's just going to be innovative that we're not thinking about right now. But I don't see a real issue with the platform.
Yeah, I think that's a very sensible sort of viewpoint to have on that issue. Honestly, like, but it is hard because like some people do get really invested in their platforms and what they do. So, I can understand like an end user being frustrated and, you know, going to Twitter, going to Reddit, you know, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of normal. But at the same time, like, you'd hope that there's enough people out there who understand it's like, you know, running something like this is difficult, and I can understand why the split is the way it is. I mean, look, and they're a business, right? Businesses want to make money. So of course the split is going to be favorable to the company and not to the other. Like, I mean, they've got deals in place. Like, I'm like, when Dr. Disrespect was on there, I'm sure he had a good deal. Like Shroud had an awesome deal that, like, he probably has a really good deal still to
But-
keep Twitch going, right?
You know, it comes back to a couple of the biggest streamers and those ones that are going to pay it out. And I'll go back to like Pastilli, for example, someone that I've followed a bit closer, being an Australian streamer who's been in that top 20, top 10 streamers on
Highly
Twitch,
successful.
highly successful, especially over the last 3 years, basically 4 years is when he's picked up. He's even mentioning his income's not Twitch. His income's outside of Twitch. Like, it's a volatile. It's a volatile income. Twitch is.
Yeah.
You can't. I've always said Twitch is your bonus to your salary.
Right.
Your sponsorship should be your salary, and then Twitch is your bonus. That's your incentive that you're getting up on top of things. And I see people are going over to Kick, and I read. I forget who it was. So someone on Twitter said they're going to Kick. 95%. I want to go full time. This is where I'm going to do it. And I'm thinking, cool, you're going to make more money, on subs. Yeah, someone said, you get 500 subs, 100 subs on Kick. That's $475 compared to $250 on Twitch. That's cool and all, but I don't see the sponsorships. They don't run ads on Kick at the moment. So that, that's not coming through. Then you got to go sponsorships. So that's an outside party wanting to give you money to advertise their product. If they don't line up with the values of Kick, which is mainly online gambling, and not many businesses do line up, alongside with online gambling. It's a moral choice, and each to their own. I have no problems with online gambling at all, but looking at a sense of, where am I most likely going to get sponsorships from? I will see Twitch as a more sustainable place to get long-term sponsorships over Kick at the moment, purely because of where, I guess, majority of people's moral compass stands.
Yeah, and honestly, it just comes down to kind of bit of a name recognition thing. I think that right now, everyone knows that if I want to watch gaming, I should check out this Twitch thing or YouTube. Yep. It's gonna take, I would say, at least a couple of months before Kick becomes a go-to. If they become a go-to and everyone floods there, then maybe sponsors say, hey, they're pulling in just as much traffic as this, and this. So let me see if I can get some people. But like you said, the main thing is that you cannot, for the most part, live off of just Twitch. You need to have something else. And I think that's where a lot of people get upset, because they're coming into this thing looking at what the top 2%, top 1% is getting, like, oh, I need a piece of that pie. I need to, they leaked out the salaries and these people are making this much. They can afford to cut that and pay me down here. And you're looking at it wrong.
yeah. Nah, that's it. It's, I don't know. We'll see I guess we'll see what things to come. I just think it's always nice to get a fresh new set of eyes on a business. It never hurts for someone else to come and have a look, especially someone who's seen the business change so many times over the years. Like someone else coming in and taking over, they might have a different perspective on where they want to steer. It might be more discoverability. It might be, I know no longer the case, TikTok possibly getting banned over in America and Canada, possibly UK, not here. But heaven say that doesn't happen. Do they try and look at going, hey, let's integrate our platforms together? TikTok, you're great for discoverability. We're great for our live stream. And can we do a little bit of a handshake deal on the side where we have native support to move our content from, clips from live streams over to yours and vice versa. So
if that deal went through, that would be crazy. That would be a very, very good way to stay in the US and a very good handshake deal. Most Hated said that maybe for every game or category, they do two, with the one with the higher viewers and the other one with the mid to low viewers, so they're not at the bottom of the category.
Yeah, that's true.
Could.
I've noticed my My Twitch recommended page has actually been changing quite well for quite a while now. It doesn't feel like it's such dead. Like, looking at the live channels that they think I will like as a viewer,
Right.
the top 3 here is one person that I do follow. He's got 11 views. Another person I've never heard of doing just chatting who has 19 views. The next person to that has 14 views. And there's not one looking at my front page right now, besides that first title screen at the very top where you get your banner that you rotate through, which I never look at anyway. But the next level underneath that, there is only one streamer that has 30. Everyone else is in the mid-teens or lower. Oh, that's pushing.
Let me ask you this, both of you, honestly, or anyone who wants to answer. I ask everyone this whenever this comes up. How often do you check that page? How often are you going to recommend it? How often are you actually just searching for new streamers? Because personally, and this is just me, yeah, I mean, whenever I get on, I usually have anywhere from 5 to 20 to sometimes 40 on like a Friday night friends that I already have met and need to watch. Like on a Friday night, I'm like, okay, this person is live because everyone's live on the weekends. I don't have the time to go and check out somebody that I don't know, unfortunately, because I'm like, dang, I really want to catch this person's stream. I really want to catch that person's stream. My friend just texts me like, how often are we really trying to even discover anybody? But then everyone says there's no discoverability. Who are you discovering? Who are you reaching out to? Start with yourself. I can't complain about discoverability because I don't even try to find anybody. I'm only watching my friends on here.
No,
that's a very good point. That's man, my Twitch viewing is like, I'm a bit of a simple dude. It's what game am I playing? Who's playing it? Watch them for a bit, try and learn a little from them, and rinse and repeat. I mean, sometimes I watch a couple of PoE streams every now and then, even though I don't play anymore. But I'm not I'm not really looking for a discovery. It's like I kind of want to see the best people, and normally the best people have the most viewers. That's probably a real basic way to look at it. And like, I don't mean any offense to anyone, but like, it's kind of how it's set up, and it kind of works. Like, that's why Shroud and Summit and like, there's a whole bunch of big streamers who just always have big numbers because they're good to watch. Like, they're good content creators. And I'm not saying that other people aren't, but like, I look at something, I'm like, well, there's 17,000 people watching it. Maybe something cool's happening, and you jump in and it's like, yeah, there's something cool happening in here. So, but on the flip side, I've watched some smaller streamers, and I'm like, hey, this is fun too. Like, but it's man, the time issue you're talking about with your friends, I totally get it, because it's like, I don't have enough time to watch all the people that I probably should, right? Because I've got my own interests. Like, I want to play some games, and and sometimes I don't want to watch streams while I'm gaming. So it's like, yeah, it's a difficult problem, man.
I really want to add somebody new to the mix. So now I have 21 people I'm trying to decide between who I want to. It's difficult.
It is difficult. I mean, I still look at, I'm very split in my content, like where I go for everything. Still, I haven't become one of those people that wants to just, it goes everywhere sense. Like, TikTok's my shorts. Like, that's where I want my short, quick discoverability thing. Like, that's where, if I'm going to find someone, that's where I found, that's where I've met Nugg. It's TikTok. I meet my new people on TikTok. Then, if I want to watch them live, I'm on Twitch. I'm watching them on Twitch. If I'm not catching them live and I want to know more information or longer form content, then I'm YouTube. That's how in my head, that's how I split up my content. And I know people go, "Oh, you can do your shorts now on YouTube, and you can do live streaming on YouTube." Yeah, I know I can. I can do live streaming on Instagram, but I'm not going to Instagram to look for live streaming. I'm going to Twitch to look for my live stream if I want to watch something live. And
that's a good point.
Yeah, I can watch longer form content on TikTok now, because that's what they're pushing. They're asking for minute plus videos now, but that's not where I want to watch it. I want to watch that on YouTube. Like, each platform.
Notice that, right? They're pushing that. I'm sorry to cut you off. Pushing that long form. They're really pushing it.
and I brought it up to someone not so long ago. A conversation between a couple of us adults, late 30s, 40-year-old you know, our age, we're talking, I mean, that's our mentality. That's where we, you know, how we see things. And I talked to my daughter, who's 15 this year, and she tells me if she's looking for something, like she wants to look up a tutorial on like how to make something or do something, her and her friends search TikTok for tutorials.
Yeah.
They're not looking for a 60. And then I was trying to explain it to someone the other day. They're, oh yeah, it's hard to put a tutorial in under 60 seconds. I'm like, no. They're watching long form content on TikTok. Like, I know us look at it and go, well, that's only short. We don't, you know, as I said, it's under 30 seconds. That's great for me. But younger generation are looking at these platforms in a different way than what we are.
Yeah.
Yep, I could believe that. Like I don't really use TikTok, man. I just watch the videos you link me, Josh.
Yeah.
Sometimes people send me some funny clips from TikTok too. So
Yeah. But
Dude,
yeah.
I search TikTok as well. I use TikTok to search for anything. My favorite thing is if I'm traveling somewhere new, it's easy to just type in fun things to do in this place, and you get somebody who's going to show you a video of the things that they did, cool things to do at this restaurant.
Yeah.
Here are the best drinks to get, and it's in a minute. Why not?
Yeah, you got the rundown. You got the rundown like that. You're good to go. You don't have to do any further research.
I think you guys should just try it one time, and just like before you go to Google one time, let me just see what TikTok has, because typically I think the draw is you're getting somebody real who's not quote unquote being paid or an advertiser, and they're showing you footage of it while they talk about it.
Yeah, it's not like Instagram where, you know, I think we've all seen those people out in the real world where they got the friend holding the phone for them and hold on, let me get the angle right in the photo. Cool, done.
Right.
Let's upload. You know, it's more raw, I guess, on TikTok.
For me, I just, for certain things like food or traveling or even sometimes a game, I think that it's more like a me and you guys speaking, as opposed to if I go and watch IGN, it just feels like it's so beefed up in production, and I know they're going to get between a 7 and an 8 every single time.
Yeah.
Like it just sounds like sometimes I need somebody who's not super professional to tell me, is it good? Is it bad? Honest
just an
opinion.
honest opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I want some
Honest opinion. I mean, when's the last time you've seen a game studio give a game lower than a 7? You know,
Yeah, it's
typically
rare.
they're giving
Ratings
even
are
the
weird now.
exactly. So sometimes it's like, let me search TikTok, because I know there's a couple people out there who will just give me, if they don't like it, they'll just give me it's a 0, and I'll be like, okay, they don't like it.
That's why
you know.
that's why I got into Giant Bomb for a while there, and I still do. The guys over at Giant Bomb.
Giant Bomb. Is that
Yeah,
YouTube?
they do YouTube. It's mainly its own website. They were doing their own website for ages. They do more YouTube stuff now. Jeff Gersman was one of the men that started it. The crew's changed recently. It's all new people, but you know, Jeff had been in the gaming industry for quite some time doing reviews. He's now gone out by himself to do his own reviews, but he left GameSpot back in the day because of the ratings thing. Because they had to, every time that him and these guys would do reviews, they have to go, cool, I have to put in a scale of 1 to 10 what the graphics is, what this is, and then the computer would then spit out a number at the end and go, okay, cool, that game's getting an 8.75 or whatever. And then there was like a hype factor or something, you know, allowed them to sway the overall a little bit, gave it a little bit push in one direction or another. But they ditched that company, GameSpot, and moved on because of the rating system. Because, you know, they're like, no, this is not a true, honest way, because everyone feels like they have to give these games a certain number and perform to this level. So yeah.
Well, there's that pressure where if they do the hypothetical, now this game's actually rubbish, we're going to give it a 0. That company's never ever going to send them a game to review ever again.
Well,
So that's why they're always like, you know, it's not great, but we'll give it a 7.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
but that's also why a lot of studios at the same time are not talking to a lot of these editors anymore, and instead picking content creators that like the series. Instead, they're only going for the ones that, cool, this guy's a massive fan of this game. Let's fly him out. Let's give him a CD key. Let's give him a couple of things to the side. Here's a hat. Here's a shirt. Here's a copy of a game. You're getting it 2 weeks early. What do you think? What do you think he's going to say? It's a 10.
I'm not going to lie. I received a free game not too long ago, and
it's good.
I reviewed
it's
it.
It's a good feeling.
and honestly, I say this too. It's like, I didn't feel like pressure to give them good reviews because it was free. I felt like because it was free and I didn't spend any money, I was more forgiving. If I had spent 70, 80 bucks, I have higher expectations versus if I get something for free, my expectations aren't nearly as high because I didn't pay for it. And that's like a really big conundrum that I have when I review things.
This reminds me, actually, now that you've said that, this reminds me of, because I got a key for a game a while ago, and it's part of the lurk that I put you onto. One of the games was it's on Game Pass now, but it was the not Vermintide people, Darktide game, Warhammer Darktide. The latest Warhammer game.
Yeah.
So I got that early. I got that early access. Here you go. Here's the key. Go for it. Tell us what you think. 10 minutes is all I streamed that for. I said I'd do it for 2 hours. I did it for 10 minutes, and then got pissed off because at the time of the game it didn't allow me to change the inversion of my mouse. So I was stuck to I was stuck to the way that I don't like to handle for shooters. And I couldn't change it. Game looked pretty, and I said it, like, this game looks pretty short. I can't play this game because of how you can't let me change these controllers. I'm done. And then I submitted it. They accepted it. They were fine with me doing it. Like,
I do remember you telling me about that.
I think I complained to text. Like, I was pissed. I was ready to give this game a good thing, and I'm thinking, hold on, you're a big studio, and you've given me this game in early access, and I can't do a simple thing. Like, screw you. I'm not even taking my time to look at your game anymore, and I left it. Like,
well, that's honestly, it's probably because it was console first, and PC release was kind of we're going to release it on PC anyway, so they probably didn't have some of the functionality built in, but who knows? Yeah. Like, we're definitely in the minority there, Nova. Like,
I know the controllers.
Yeah.
I still say that back in the day. I remember back in the day, and this is my pitchfork stance of, like, if you wanted to do the view that everyone accepts as normal, you had to tick a box to choose that. It was inverted as default. Like, that's how we played these games starting out.
Well, I think what changed it was a lot of people started playing games and not changing any settings. And then it's like, well, this is how the game plays.
Yeah.
And the reason why, like, Quake 1, at least on Mac, which is what I played it on, default inverted. So that's my excuse.
It was the same with Quake.
And I've never changed since.
Yeah. It was the same with Quake and Doom.
That was a long time ago now, and I've every game since. Controller games, way more forgiving about it.
True.
But mouse and keyboard, it has to. It breaks my brain if I do it the other way. It's
so. Well, I'm winding up there to see. Is there anything you guys want to have a chat about? So we've gone a bit longer than I thought we would, but I'm going to skip the epic one. Anything you guys seen or anything interesting you want to talk about? I think we got it all.
I think we did a wonderful job. Honestly, this was great. I loved it.
Some good conversation. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, mate.
Thank you. As I said, it's the new thing. Everyone's out welcome as much as they want. It's just more talking to like-minded people and getting those influences, older gamers, stuff that you don't hear that often as a discussion point. That's what I wanted to bring. So thank you both for being on it. For everyone else, make sure you check them out. But yeah, we'll catch you guys later on.
Thank you very much, Nova, sir.
That's all right.
It's been very nice talking, Nugg.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.